对疫情防控工作做出了具体的工作部署。在国家和省的指导下，加强权威信息发。
In the Municipal Party Committee, we have cracked down on the rumors related to the COVID-19 prevention and control. And this is helpful to dispel rumors and misinformation and better support the prevention and control of COVID-19. And yesterday, in our press briefing, we shared a notice on the prevention and control at different levels. So this has built a stronger network for the COVID-19 prevention and control. So first, we will have with us the spokesperson from the Guangzhou Health Commission, Ms. Chen Bing, to share with us the latest information. Dear friends from the press, good afternoon. I'd like to report to you the latest update since the 21st. Well, as of today, as of 14 o'clock, the local reported of 5 new cases. And now there are 21 cases, and they are being isolated in hospital. Well, we at the earliest response, we have enlarged the scope of nucleic acid test. Now, I'd like to give you further details. We have a municipal guiding department. At 18 o'clock of 26th, we have implemented a nucleic acid test across the major regions that covers 10,000 people. So this is the first round of nucleic acid tests. As of 0 o'clock of 29th of May, all the people that were covered have been sampled. That covers 220,000 people. So 20 were detected to be infected, and 19 asymptomatic cases, and 1 confirmed case. So these are the results of the tests. So also there are the close contacts that 12 found to be infected. According to the tests, and these people have experiences of dining together with the infected cases. So as of the 21st, according to the genetic tests, and these are of the same origins with these people, and these are of the Indian mutated strain. So according to the local guiding department, we have enlarged the scope of the tests. We have made analysis of the situation. The major risks are in Liwan district and Dongjiao district and other major districts. These districts are classified as middle risk areas, and the Baihedong Street is one of the most high risks area. So these risks are classified as middle risk areas that receive the strongest attention for prevention and control. So as of starting from today, we will continue to organize the nucleic acid tests in Liwan district to further enlarge the scope of the tests so that can cover almost all areas of the major districts. Well, the widening of the scope of the tests are in line with the prevention and control targets that it is to be done at different levels. And we aim to cover the major regions so that we can prevent the spread of the virus and stop the conditions for the virus spread. So we encourage all the residents to wear masks and wash hands often and keep a healthy lifestyle and avoid transportation and to cope with the guidelines and rules of the community, and also to receive the vaccines and nucleic acid tests. So this situation requires us to work together. This is a critical moment for us for collective efforts. And by working together, can we win this battle together? Well, I'd like to thank Madam Chen Bing for sharing with us the latest update on the prevention and control of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we will keep a daily update. Well, yesterday we released the information on the control and prevention at different levels. So we are sharing the latest information at the front. So today's press briefing is also a regular briefing. Later on, we will have more spokesperson, the director from the local government, to share with you the situation at the community level. I think you are interested also in the the prevention and control by grade and at different levels. You might also be interested in the people living in the community and how their life is going. So today we will invite some representatives to join us online to share their life. So we take a 1-minute break and we will come back. Dear members from the press, good afternoon. We have held the 66th press briefing on COVID-19 prevention and control. It was chaired Madam Chen Bing from the Local Health Commission gave you the latest updates. We are also following the guidelines of the relevant departments and governments as a step to put it into practice. We have invited the representatives from different walks of life to implement the guidelines of the government to make sure the education level, the material guarantee, the metro, and other circles were all represented in today's briefing. So we have heard some updates. So please allow me to introduce the representatives today, both online and offline representatives. From the Huang Xiaoting from the Guangzhou Education Bureau, Deng Wenjun from Guangzhou Supply and Marketing Department, Wu Songjun from Guangzhou Public Security Office, the Liwan District Police Inspector, Liao Zhiwei from the Guangzhou Metro Group, Wu Fan, Deputy Director of Guangzhou Voluntary Group, Liu Bing, the Guangzhou Bus Group. We have also the person in charge, Madame Zhang Huixing, for the vaccination department, and she is open to the interviews today. We are also honored to have some online representatives at the community level, especially from the schools. We have a student representative. Thank you. Now, according to the agenda, we will give the floor to Madame Huang Xiaoting from the Education Bureau to introduce the latest updates on the school part. Dear members from the press, good afternoon. I'd like to thank you for your long-term interest in the education in Guangzhou. So according to the agenda, I will give you some updates on the school. According to the local arrangements, we have ensured that each class receive equal attention on the prevention and control of the pandemic, and we will ensure the online education emergency plans are in place. We guaranteed that education is in place to make students well educated. We make sure that the courses are fully implemented and that the students are both enjoy the education and play. We strictly controlled the time length of the students that receive online courses. We made it a rule that students will join the online courses that exceeded no more than 2 hours a day. And for the online courses, the inspectors online should exceed no more than 20 minutes. We also made tailored plans for the education. The online education will focus on the strategic part, and it will feature an online Q&A session and a group study to better motivate the students, so that the students will motivate themselves to study. For the elementary school, for the first grade and the second grade, they will have no homework. And for other grades, the total amount of homework will be controlled. So we also encourage flexible homework. For the high school students, for the junior and the senior high, they will receive aid, psychological aid, and also personalized plans for the homework monitoring and homework aid. So even though they are at work, they will also receive the aid, and they will keep following the school education. So we have put in place a public service system for students to access the public educational resources. so that the parents have access to the public resources. We also organize the enterprises to open up 12 live stream platforms so that all districts and schools have different options. The different teaching departments and research departments will work together more closely and organize the online sessions to better prepare for the school exams and also ensure that the education is implemented in a concrete way. For those parents who have difficulty in accessing educational resources, we will provide them help at the funding level, at the community level, so that no one is left behind, and that each student have access to the online courses. So throughout our concerted efforts, the online education has accumulated many good experiences and practices. For the next step, we will keep proceeding and ensure that the education is still on even when the school is closed. Many thanks, Madam Huang, for your latest update on the education arena. So you have ensured one case for one school and one class, one case. And you have made a progress in the online education. You have improved the quality of online education and promoted the education equality. Well, thank you. Now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Deng Wenjun from the Guangzhou Supply and Marketing Department to give us the latest update. Dear members from the press, many thanks for your interest in the supply and marketing arena. I am Deng Wenjun from the local supply and marketing department. So at 9 o'clock in the evening of the 28th of May, we received a notice from our local authority that we need to ensure that supply stations are put in place to help improve the supply to the neighborhood at the major regions, especially in the Zhongnan district of Liwan district. This place is a middle risk area, so the supply is very tight. As to the situation of undersupply, we made it very urgent to increase the supply to this region. So the local party committee established a working group and called on all parties to work together. We worked overnight to provide the daily necessities, including eggs, oil, vegetables. This is an important step to implement the guidelines of President Xi Jinping. And this is an important step to carry out a synergy at the community level. We also held an online session to establish an emergency mechanism. We established different working groups, for example, the supply teams and the people and the neighborhood help team. So there were 3 points to be helped. We try to provide as much supply as possible. So we put in place 6 vehicles to increase the supply of the neighborhood. According to the local business bureau, we increased 5 times the ordinary supply, and we provide food packages to the neighborhood and decrease the transportation of the people. So we also organized 2 party branch teams altogether 18 people. We even invited community volunteers to participate in the local voluntary team to help heal the emotions of the people. And there was a great change in the weather. There was heat in the sunshine, and there was rainstorms. But we listened to the needs of the people on the food supply. And there were many photos taken by the people. The photos were sent to their families to make them appeased. And we also sent out 8 vehicles, 42 people, to ensure the food supply, including the meat and the vegetables. Altogether, 12 tons of food were delivered to the people. Next, we will work continuously to follow the guidelines and to increase the supply to the streets, to the neighborhood, so that people need for the food supply are met. And we will ensure that the food supply will be provided in a timely manner. Many thanks, Madam Deng Wenjun, for your updates. You have introduced the latest updates on the supply and the marketing of Guangzhou City. And you have mobilized people at different levels to increase the food supply, including the cold chain supply, to meet the ever-increasing need for food of the local people. So now people can rest assured that they have enough food supply, and they are taking pictures to share with their family members that they are having a good life. Well, thank you again. Now I will give the floor to Mr. Wu Songjun, the local police officer of Liwan District of Guangzhou Public Security. Well, Mr. Zhou, the floor is yours. Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm from the local police station. We are one of the 5 risk control streets. And this street is faces high pressure for risk control. So since the pandemic takes place, we closely follow the guidelines at provincial municipal level. We established a working group overnight. We called on our colleagues to work in a team. And these people have been helping with the order, keeping the order in the region, and to ensure the situation is under control. So now I would like to give some information about our police station. Well, first we paid great efforts to ensure the situation is put under control. We established a working team since the pandemic took place. We monitored the people. Once the notice for prevention and control is issued, we responded at the earliest time and took away the task for monitoring the people flow. We worked long hours. We worked overtime for regional control, for traffic control. We were clear about our responsibilities, and we show up whenever duty calls. So since the 0 o'clock of 28th of May, we strengthened control and prevention of the major regions. For the pandemic, we monitored 540 plus people, and we set 33 inspection points. And altogether, we monitored 1,100 people. We sent out 2,400 400 people. We also set up places to monitor the high-risk areas. And we also increased the understanding of the COVID-19 pandemic in around 6,000 community neighborhoods. We actively communicated with the strict departments, and we organized the 3-people teams to monitor and double-check with the close contact. The major idea is to identify the close contact. So we visited people door to door. So 1,116 people were monitored for finding the close contacts. And we did this to ensure that the risk were monitored and the risky people were identified. We also implemented the health regulations so that the cases will be identified and controlled at the earliest time. Fourth, we increased the people supply to strengthen the prevention and control of the epidemic. We set up 6 points for nucleic acid tests in the street. In the areas where there are great people flow, we increased the people supply. We sent out 114 police members to help with the monitoring work. So we try to decrease the risk of the viral spread. Another measure is that all our police members have canceled our vacations in order to strengthen the prevention and control of the epidemic at the community level. So this is done to ensure that the community is safe and well protected. We also monitor the health of the police members. We distributed brochures to spread knowledge on the prevention and control. So much on my part. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zhou Dengtao from the local police station. You have shared the latest update on the prevention control at the level of the police station. You have increased labor supply. You have sent out 2,000 plus people. And you have protected stronger support to the local community in terms of sampling the test. So you have done a great deal to ensure that people are having good life at community level. Now, I'd like to give the floor to the representative from the Guangzhou Metro Group, Mr. Liao Zhixing from the Metro Group. So he will give us some information on the Metro Group. Dear members from the press, good afternoon. I will now report to you on the prevention and control at the level of Guangzhou Metro Group. First, some general situation on the metro prevention and control. While the situation is now running well and under good control, since the 21st of May, we have coped with the general guidelines. We have implemented strict rules on the metro stations. All the exits, major exits, will allow only exits and no entrances, as these are the risky stations. And we have sent electronic notices to our people. So I'd like to thank you for your cooperation. And now the people flow in the metro stations have declined. And there has been 4.4 million people travel in the metro, which has declined compared with April. We have set up an emergency plan and taken a number of measures to ensure that concerted prevention and control is put in place to protect people's life and safety. First, we have strict control and sanitation. Each day, we have 200 sanitary people who disinfect the metro stations and the cabins. And ventilation is strengthened also to improve the sanitation. And second, we improved inspection on the people who enter the stations. People have to wear masks in order to get in the station. We set up 750 temperature take points. And inspections were carried out across around 13 million people. Visitors. We also follow the scientific rules and make scientific plans on the travel of the people. Another rule is about vaccination and the nucleic acid tests. We hesitate in no way in terms of the vaccination. We ensure that 100% of the people got vaccinated. And 16,000 people have been sampled for the nucleic acid tests. According to our plan, within today, all the people that will be covered for the tests. We also raise awareness on the COVID-19 prevention and control. We sent 40 plus videos, the educational videos. We also have electronic screens and LED screens to release the information on the prevention and control. So the Guangzhou Metro Group calls on everyone to take care of yourself and when you take the metro to receive the temperature check and wear masks all the way so that we can have a healthy life. Last but not least, we plan for the next step. We will continue to implement the guidelines from the municipal government and the local authorities. We will implement a strict actions to ensure that the metro stations will be subject to prevention and control, and that people will wear masks before they get into the metro stations. The drivers will be safe and healthy. So we have done all these measures to ensure that the metro is a safe place for transportation. Well, Mr. Liao, thank you very much for your update. Metro Group of Guangzhou City is also very important. It's the office for the prevention and control of Guangzhou City. So you have given us a lot of information on the sanitation, the ventilation, the entrance check. You have been very strict in carrying out the measures for prevention and control. So you also raised public awareness on the prevention and control. You have done a good job in spreading knowledge on the virus. Now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Wu Fan from Guangzhou Voluntary Group. Dear members from the press, good afternoon. According to the working plan, and we now report to you on how the volunteers participate in the prevention and control. Well, the volunteers have received vaccination. We have a Guangzhou Volunteer Action Center, and we also have the Guangzhou volunteer groups to get involved. So we have carried out services for vaccination and testing. We have 448,000 people serving on duty. We have also over 2,000 volunteers in reserve who are ready to carry out vaccination aid services. In the Li-Wan district, they have over 1,000 volunteers in reserve. In the other districts, they all have more than 1,000 volunteers in their repository. So these volunteers are involved in the vaccination and nucleic acid testing. Another step is to ensure that the volunteers are healthy and safe when they are on duty. We, at the earliest response, published a handbook on the volunteers. And we also published a campaign to call on the volunteers to participate in the prevention and control. So we made it a rule that safety is of primary importance for the volunteers. Before they take up their posts, they must be trained. They must receive professional training from the medical staff. And after they finish their job, they must receive the nucleic acid test to make them resting assured that they are safe after they complete their job. So at the nucleic acid testing points, the volunteers help keep order and help the residents to take the vaccines. They also answer questions from the residents. And there were many shining moments of the voluntary team. Many aspire and sweat in their job, and they sweat and paid a lot of efforts. So the residents were very touching, and they even sent food and drinks to the volunteers. So we'd like to thank the residents also for giving thumb ups to the volunteers. And this is the voluntary spirit that is very positive. So much on my part.